As you know from that introduction and from the bio that you got in the materials, that I've been in fundraising for more than 25 years. And I will admit that in that 25 years, there might be a couple of places on my resume where I might have been in an organization for just a couple of years and left quickly. I think everybody knows that there is a lot of turnover in fundraising. In fact, there was a very interesting study that was done in 2013 where they found that the average fundraiser anticipated leaving their current job within 2 years. And then beyond that, they also showed that half of that, the median length of the, you got everything all taken care of there?
I think so, sorry.
That's all right, no problem at all. So we found that the average fundraiser was anticipating leaving in about within the 2-year frame, and also that when their position was open in a nonprofit organization, they anticipated that position being opening for at least 6 months, with 46% of the time, the length of the vacancy being even longer than that. So this study in 2013 really sort of shook up the industry and made people pay attention to what was happening, and really sort of making people think about how we needed to take a different approach to fundraising in the sector. And one of the ideas they came up with, or one of the recommendations of how we might address some of these issues, is working on creating more of a culture of philanthropy within our organizations. So today, actually, that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about how we can shape a culture of philanthropy in our organizations. And to start us off on that conversation today, I'd like to do a little bit of brainstorming, really fast if we could. And Debbie, could I ask you to write down?
Sure.
Here, let me get you a pen. So we're going to just take we're going to do a little bit of brainstorming. The rules are pretty simple with our brainstorming exercise. We want to make sure that we don't criticize anybody's answer. We're just going to try and come up with as many answers as possible, as quickly as Debbie can write. And then also, if somebody has an idea you want to build on, feel free to build on it and move from there. So can you tell me what would describe an organization that has a culture of philanthropy? What is an indicator of a strong culture of philanthropy in an organization? Lewis.
A board where everybody gives, there's a strong giving and yet policy.
100% of giving?
Absolutely.
From the board in particular? Great. Kate, you have an answer?
Yes,
Thought?
qualified staff that is both respected and valued.
Wow, you guys are really good. Respected and qualified staff? You had a thought?
Significant staff giving to the organization.
So along with the 100% of board giving, we also want to look at significant participation by staff.
By staff.
Very good. Yes. Any other thoughts about what makes an organization have a strong culture of giving?
An understanding between giving and the outcomes and benefits to society.
So understanding how the
gifts translate into benefit for the organization.
Absolutely. So how the gifts become impact, the outcome, the results of people's generosity.
And within the strategic plan, that there's it's either woven through the plan, or there's an area that really focuses on the plan, that focuses on philanthropy.
Philanthropy. So incorporating philanthropy or giving as part of the overall vision and strategic direction of the organization.
Absolutely.
Very nice, Lewis. Yes, Kate?
A clear understanding of the roles and responsibility between board, executive director, and staff.
Really, really good. Understanding of the different responsibilities from each of those positions. The responsibilities of the board, the responsibilities of the executive leadership, and the fundraising staff. Is that what you meant, Kate? Terrific. Well, you guys have, in fact, I don't even think I need to do any more of this presentation. You've got it all right here on this brainstorming session. You did a really great job of helping identify some of the things that would be an indicator that an organization has a culture of giving. We talked about board giving and staff giving. Debbie, did you have anything to add? You were doing such a good job writing everything down. Is there anything you wanted to include?
That everybody understands that they are part of the philanthropy team, the fundraising
Organization-wide.
Yes, organization-wide, from the person who answers the phone, everybody.
So
is
everybody plays a part
of the development team.
Of the fundraising effort. Absolutely. You guys have really done a fantastic job in helping to brainstorm some ways we would see the culture of philanthropy carried out in a successful organization. So I just wanted to, oh boy, sorry about that. We're going to just move on without our slides. I have actually handouts for you that have the slides on them so that we can move that way and you can see, keep track of all of our conversation. I apologize that I didn't hand these out to you earlier. Really what I want to make sure we're doing today is getting a good sense of what a culture of philanthropy is with your organization. I also want to make sure before we leave today that you have some real concrete action steps that you can take to help build a culture of philanthropy at your organization. And one of the ways I want to help you accomplish that objective is I want to share with you this list of sources and resources. These are some additional materials, actually a copy of that study that you can access back in the office, that you can share with your board and your staff, that will help you create a culture of philanthropy at your organization. So when AFP talks about having a culture of philanthropy at an organization, they talk about the importance of having that culture both internally inside your organization and externally, from people looking in at your organization and what that culture of philanthropy looks like. Did you have a question?
No, I'm just thinking.
Okay.
I'm thinking internally, externally with my hands.
Okay, terrific. I just wanted to make sure we were answering any questions if there were any. Some of the indicators of where internally, when you're looking at culture of philanthropy, many of the things actually you brought up today in our exercise. We need to make sure that there's an optimistic outlook, that there's a positive attitude and focus for the organization, that yes, we can be successful, yes, we can accomplish this goal, yes, we can raise this money. I worked early in my career in a domestic violence shelter, and one of the executive director there always said that we're going to focus on the solution. And that was just a really positive way of looking at a really tough issue. And rather than showing pictures of bruises and black eyes, we looked at women who made success out of their lives despite the challenges that they had as a result of domestic violence. So having that positive outlook, also sharing values. We want to make sure that it's not just a job, it's a passion and a mission for you. And then we also want to make sure that everybody buys into your case for support. That the reason why we would ask people to support us with their charitable gifts, everyone buys into what that case is. And can anybody think about how we might build buy-in when we're working or drafting a case for support for our organization?
Involve the volunteers in actually writing the case.
Ah, perfect. Yes, exactly. The more people are involved, the more likely they're going to have a sense of buy-in. So when you're creating your case for support, we want to make sure that we involve as many people, your board members, your staff, your program staff, as well as your fundraising staff. That creates that buy-in. And actually, Debbie, what you brought up when we were doing our brainstorming session about everybody understanding their role, that really is a key indicator of an internal indicator of a culture of philanthropy, where everybody understands, whether it's the janitor, the person that answers the phone, or the executive director, they all understand what their role is in philanthropy, that everybody takes ownership of that. Also understanding and knowing who your donors are. Just to know who the potential people are, the potential donors and your existing donors, so that you can acknowledge and show gratitude towards those people. And finally, we want to make sure that as an organization, we are allocating the appropriate resources, that there is budget, there's staffing, there's equipment, so that fundraising can be successul. And this brings me actually to the idea of making sure that as a fundraiser, we all have a yearly plan. And not only do we have that plan for what we hope to accomplish, but we take that plan and our progress towards those goals to the board meetings and actually to your full staff, so everyone understands what we're doing with the resources that are allocated. So we also want to take a quick look at how externally we can show that we have a culture of organization, a culture of philanthropy in our organization. Louis, do you have any ideas of how an organization can show externally how they have a culture of philanthropy?
Sure, in terms of their promotional materials or on their website or in their newsletter or wherever they reach out to the community, they can acknowledge, recognize the value and the impact of those who support.
That's a perfect answer. Yes, exactly right. So, do any of you know organizations that do that really well? Kate?
Yeah, my organization has volunteer and appreciation and recognition days in the soup kitchen. Okay, so, and then everybody gets together and we give them a gift card, we clap. It's wonderful.
Excellent. In your notes, you'll see that there's a couple of ways, but really ultimately, it's having incredible, impeccable credibility in the community. And we all know really good organizations that do this really, really well, and we want to model ourselves after that. The thing we want to really remember is that when we're creating a true culture of philanthropy, everybody involved in the organization, as we've talked about a couple of times already, is committed to the mission and the values and the work of the organization, and also recognizes their role in raising funds for that organization. We wanted to try and have some concrete examples of how you can create a culture of philanthropy in your organization, but unfortunately we're running out of time. So what I'm going to suggest is that for those of you who are willing to stay for a couple minutes afterwards, we can sit down and brainstorm some real concrete action steps that you can take at your organization so that we can ensure that you have a culture of philanthropy. And also in your sources and resources, there's a really great blog post by Claire Axelrad that lists action steps that you can take to create a culture of organization, a culture of philanthropy at your organization. I keep twisting up my words. But I really want to challenge you when we leave today to take at least 3 ideas that you can use to create a culture of philanthropy at your organization. Thank you.
Now press that.
Yep.